Hello. Welcome to Living Well Today, episode 43. Coming up on a year. It's pretty cool, right? I didn't do a show last week because I was traveling and seeing family and friends and clients in upstate New York. And you're going to see today, I just have my background. I decided not to use the Living Well Today background today because I was just so happy to be home. And I love this behind me. It's mixed media and three-dimensional, so the butterflies actually kind of like pop off the page, which is cool. So today we are talking about cooperation and collaboration. And it feels like as we watch the Olympics, as we see all of the teamwork that it requires, there was a story I saw this morning, in fact, a true story about Simone Biles, who one of her teammates was discouraged, was lacking confidence, and was just going to quit gymnastics altogether. And Simone invited her to come and train at her own gym, and she's excelled, and she's standing on the podium with Simone to get a gold medal. So teamwork is vital, and cooperation and collaboration is vital. There's a saying that a mentor of mine shares with me all the time, and that is a solo act is never a success. It takes more than one person to make it all go. And even if you have a Celine Dion out on stage, imagine the orchestration that takes. The wardrobe, the sound, the booking agent, there, the music, all of it, right? The inspiration of her husband to have helped her get to where she is. So the love and support of her family. So success is never a solo act. And, if you want to go somewhere really fast, I guess go alone. But I don't know that once you get there, you're going to feel the reward that you would have if others prospered with you. It's kind of a tenet of why we are here is cooperation and connection. So I have some notes that I'll reference throughout this, but this applies whether this is at work, at home, with your family, your neighborhood, your community, the country, the world. And you're not seeing a lot of cooperation go on in the news, but there's so much cooperation and collaboration going on for us to even be here. And the cooperation and collaboration that has to occur in nature. And we'll talk about some examples with that. And we'll talk about why, and we've addressed this before, the macro and micro elements. So what you are doing within your own home, within your own school, your own church, your own neighborhood, all of those, what you're doing in your own backyard, in your own garden, tending to those micro elements of being and nurturing the cooperation, collaboration, first with yourself, with your higher self, so that you're not in resistance and shame and guilt and all of those things that we can hold ourselves to these standards. And then when we don't meet those standards, we think somehow we're not worthy or we're less than or whatever it might be. So whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on replay, I invite you to look around your own home, your own backyard, and say, if you are wanting for more collaboration and cooperation in a positive fashion out in the world, how about you start with your own backyard, your own household? Are there strengths and gifts and talents that certain people in your family possess more than another family member? Of course. That's all of us. That's for everywhere. So your family's planning a vacation, and mom's going to be in charge of this, and stepdad's going to be in charge of this, and eldest daughter's going to be focusing on some dinner reservations or restaurant reservations somewhere, or helping get packed, whatever it might be. That's ideal cooperation in the home, right? Or mom works a lot, and so she calls upon her teenagers to try and assist, right? So with keeping things picked up and take the garbage out. And what happens when all of that breaks down and it falls on one person? It's less effective, and then that person burns out. So if you're thinking about it at work, a team, brainstorming, innovation, can you imagine trying to build a business and execute a business completely on your own? It doesn't work. There's a famous quote from Henry Ford that says, um, I want to read it. Coming together is a beginning. Staying together is progress. Working together is success. You can't get there by yourself. The world isn't designed that way. And even though there are some who may say, I did it on my own. This is all about me and I did it my way. You may have been the conductor of your own symphony, but there's no music being made without the violins and the percussion and the horns and right? So cooperation. If we look to examples of nature, think of the cooperation that happens within a beehive, or pollination between the flowers and plants and the bees, or think about it in pack hunting. If you look at the animal kingdom, how they work together, building an anthill, whatever it might be, or you have the scouts, right? The ants that go out looking for food and water. Everyone has their role. Native Americans understood this. Any of the Aboriginal understand that cooperation is vital, not just to sustenance and survival, but to thriving as a culture. So if we think about in nature, I have a note here, coral reefs, the way the coral reefs protect certain species and how they thrive off of one another. Building a nest. I had that happen this spring. She builds a nest in my mailbox every spring. I don't know if it's the same bird, but and the mom and dad work together. It happens everywhere in nature. So why do we resist it so much in government as a world? As I said, we're seeing the 20% that's not cooperating. It just so happens they have the biggest megaphone. But 80% of the world is cooperating. People are driving on the right side of the road most of the time. The wonderful men who come by every Friday and pick up the trash, and they are so terrific and so helpful. And the people who rent my home, Airbnb, and those who cooperate with me and take care of the property, and we work together and we both prosper. They have a wonderful experience. I get to share that experience with them, and I get to prosper financially. It pays for my home. So cooperation, it's really a beautiful thing, and there's so many rewards that can come out of it. So we only have each week, we only have 30 minutes together, and I try to pull from different disciplines, different things where you can witness how you begin with yourself, that living well today, right here, right now, is to do 80%, to do maybe more with your relationship to yourself and the level of cooperation that you have with yourself, your higher self, the universe. And then how that ripples out to your family members, your coworkers, that boss, that can be heavy-handed at times, or a client that can be difficult. You know, you get to shape and shift your experience with that. And as you switch the lens, just like at the optometrist, when they say more, less, I can see more clearly. No, that's blurrier. As you refine and refine and refine your own understanding of cooperation, it gets easier. And you actually find that more people show up on your path willing to cooperate because they're reflecting back to you that which you are emanating. And they're looking at you as a model for that. You may not always know that consciously, but people are watching you. They're watching, especially your children and your coworkers. They're watching you for your lead, to take the lead. And um, how are you cooperating? In what ways? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So let's talk about that, because I do word of the week every week. I'm going to do one later today. I'm going to use cooperate. But what does it feel like when there's that connection with someone, and you create something together? It feels fulfilling. It feels rewarding. It feels warm, happy, easy, uh, joyful. Is one love. You feel love. Now you're going to say, I don't feel love from my coworker. Oh, yes, you do. If you just worked a project together and it was regarded as a huge success, and you were so proud of your work, and you created the impact you desired, and it's affecting other people and clients and making everyone's life better or work better. Yes. If you're shaking hands, you're giving a high five, that's a form of love. Absolutely. So whether it's in projects, in innovations, you're trying to resolve a conflict. Conflict resolution. Can you resolve something on your own? Yes, you can, because of the lens that you choose to look through. Will it resolve more quickly and more holistically if you work together to resolve it? Sure. That's just the way of things. Yes, of course it would. So imagine if you were orchestrating a wedding. Can you do it on your own? You could try. It's not a lot of fun. Any kind of event, amazing dinner. You go into these chefs and five-star restaurants and hotels. Those experiences, the grandest, most beautiful, rewarding, impactful experiences, the ones that last a lifetime, they were orchestrated by many through much cooperation and collaboration. So what are the skills that it takes to be a better cooperator and collaborator? Patience, open-mindedness, empathy, being able to walk in someone else's shoes, see the situation from someone else's point of view, which we could do, even all of us could do 10% more of that every day. Our local and federal governments would look very different. Communication, certainly, kindness, energy. You have to show up, you have to be willing to do the work and leverage the gifts that you possess that might be different from your coworker or family member. I think the patience thing is a big thing, and also a willingness to let go of being right. Knowing that you don't know it all, and that it's okay, that you're not designed to. And as soon as you do, by the way, you check off this planet. So you want to be open to the idea that you're always learning and curious, because as soon as you stop learning and being curious, you stop growing. And when that happens, you start dying. It's physics. So when you look at respect for that other person or that team, and say, and can say to yourself, I'm not threatened at all by the fact that they are smarter or better at this than I am. Because I'm not here to be an architect, or I'm not here to be a scientist. I'm not here to know math. If I don't know math very well, or I'm not very good at it, or I'm not a surgeon, or I'm not a, no, I'm not. I'm an artist, or I'm a writer, I'm a singer, I'm a creator and a co-creator of beauty. So, and they can't do what I do, right? And it doesn't make me less than, or it doesn't make you more than. It isn't about that. It's about the ecosystem. It's about the collective. It's about the pieces of the puzzle fitting together to make a beautiful, or the threads through a tapestry. We've talked about that before, to make a beautiful pattern. You can't make a tapestry with one thread. That's just a thread. It's a beautiful thread. It serves a purpose. It's part of the whole, but it's only part. And that weaving of the tapestry to create something bigger than we can on our own, that's what Henry Ford understood. That's what Simone Biles understands. That's what Celine Dion understands. Anyone who has realized mastery on any level, in any field, understands the power of cooperation. It doesn't mean they always appreciate it. That's a different skill for a different episode. But you have to begin somewhere. And through the spirit of collaboration and cooperation, what you're able to create, the story you can craft for the rest of your life, your business, your family, you can change it today. You can decide today. You do the research, I'll do the experimentation, and you do the presentation. And through all of that, wow, we'll make one hell of an impact. And what you learn along the way, I mean, let's face it, you have to have an intrinsic desire to be a better human being. And I think that you do. If you're taking any time to watch any of these programs, or any of the Living Well Today stuff, or anything, I think that you've got some level of desire there, right? So my role is just, let's try to fan that flame a little bit more, and say, can I go looking for, because we find what we go looking for, can I go looking for opportunities to cooperate more deeply, to collaborate in a more expansive way? Am I prepared to show up and do the work, or do I want someone else to take care of it for me? That's an intrinsic belief and value, part of your value system too, which some percentage of folks who just are tired and just want to give up and just throw in the towel and let, freedom requires responsibility. If you want to live your life in a cage, go live in a different country for now. But the whole globe is moving toward, the entire planet is moving toward cooperation and collaboration, while honoring our differences, nurturing our own culture, not homogenizing. There are aspects of me that are like that group of people, lots of aspects. There's more that unites us than what separates us or makes us different. And we are all part of that one root. But just like the magnolia tree looks, smells, blooms differently than the myrtle or the rose bush, or the succulents, or cacti, or the willow tree. They're all part of nature. They all have roots. They all require oxygen and water, right? Carbon dioxide. They require all of the same things, but they look and behave differently. And it's beautiful. It's a tapestry. If we were all the same color of threads, it would all just be unseen, right? So as you look for mentoring groups or hobby groups or support networks, or go to a town hall, or look at nature, I invite you to say, in what way can I show up even more cooperative, even more collaborative, with deeper patience, kindness? Maybe listen more than speak. I do so much speaking in my work that I must, and I want to work on this more. I must learn to listen better and better, and create space and allow other people to share their experience. I'm accustomed to leading the conversation, growing up on stage, all these other things. I'm accustomed to growing up and leading that conversation and telling the story. You know, when you're a performer, that's what you're there to do. And although you feed on the audience's energy and feedback, it's going in one direction, right? The story. So I have to mindfully cultivate better and better listening skills. Can you do that too? Can you join me on that journey? So please share with me on social media. Send me an email via my website at angelamoonin.com. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, although not super active there. I am on Facebook, of course, LinkedIn, Inch. I'm in this new community, which a friend of mine launched, called Open, OPIN. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I know he'll excel because he does everything that he does. And he's surrounded himself with brilliant people who are cooperative and collaborative and open, literally and metaphorically. That's why and his first company was called Digital Hive. So there you go. Hive, working together, create something bigger than you can on your own. So share your own story and observations as you go through your week. And I always extend an open invitation to your feedback, your insights, to your cooperation and collaboration. And I always am wishing all the very best for you for living well today. I'll see you next week right here, right now, Wednesdays at noon. Most of the time. Sometimes as I said, if I'm traveling, or I might do it recorded, or last week was the first week I skipped in a long time. It's just too much. I gave myself a break. So I'm wishing you all the best for living well today, and I'll see you next week for episode 4 for this powerful number, angel number, an Angela number. We'll see you then, friends. Much love. Blessings to you. Bye for now.